Hey, hi, and welcome. My name is Terry Messenger, and of course, you know my name, right? You're here, you're watching me, and I'd like to know firstly who you are, where you're calling in from, and today I'm going to give you some really powerful tips and tricks on why it is so important to tap into your higher self if you want to attract and achieve epic results. So, as you are coming on, I would like you to say hi because you're walking into my very majestic palace after all, right? So I say the least you can do is say hello. Just to be courteous, say hello. And the way that I look at it, if I'm going to be really truly honest with you, I know there's a lot of people out there that are shy. They don't want people to know sometimes if they've watched or they've looked. But what you're doing is that is a shame base, and I do it too. I'm very guilty of not sometimes saying hello or commenting on live streams that I watch. And yet I see you, okay? I do actually see you. So what I'd like you to do is spare a thought for this. When you are hiding and not showing up and saying hello, it's a little bit like if you did walk into my house and you didn't say hello to me. That's how it feels, right? And even though I may not internalize this, and even though I understand there may even be some of you who feel so kind of convicted that you may not want to watch my live streams, this is what I ask you to think about before you make that decision. What are you hiding from? For what purpose would you say no or hide your intentions to be actually seen, heard, and acknowledged? Did you know that when you cover up and you hide the things that you've done or you've achieved or the successes, shame is the lowest frequency. So when you are, just either hiding it or not facing up to it, what you're telling the universe is, I don't acknowledge this. And especially if you've done work with me before. If you've done work with me before and you have had some powerful unconscious change and you hide that, or you really don't acknowledge it, then what you're saying is you're ashamed of it. That's the lowest form of frequency vibration. Now, I know this is confronting, and however, I'm going to now talk to you about why it's so important to tap into your higher self. Now that I've given you the talk, and it's really up to you. So if you choose not to say hello to me or to acknowledge that you're watching, that's totally on you. That is your free will. But I am telling you as a coach that whatever you hide will be hidden and it will stay in darkness. Whatever you bring out into the light will shine, will come through and take you onwards and upwards to epic levels. So I see you. I know who's watching. So there you go. There's my kick butt coaching for this moment. And now I'm going to share with you some powerful reasons why it's so important to tap into your higher self to get the greatest out of your success. So first of all, where shall I start? Well, I'm going to start with introducing, a little bit about myself. So I am proudly a world-class trainer of neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and subconscious training for coaches and people who need therapy and work, especially in trauma and stress and things that are holding you back in life. So really, anyone who wants to literally tap into their greatness, okay, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can practice every single day and be completely disciplined like a mofo. And you may find that it could take you years, it could take you months, and in some cases, it may never, ever happen, okay? And I'm going to explain to you why. And that is because you have a higher part of yourself that is far, far more greater. And this is going to be a real kick butt coaching call today. But that higher self is far more potent and powerful than your logical brain is, okay? So your logical brain is what is logically judging and assessing and kind of like, you know, just doing the logical stuff here on earth. Whereas the higher self is what is taking in and creating automated, right? Automated learning competency. So that is all of the things that you know how to do. And like driving a car, like when you drive, right, would you agree that you could even say to yourself, well, I'm going to go to this place, and you know your destiny, and you may think of anything and everything, listen to music, even talk to someone, and find yourself getting there. And the reason being is because your higher self is in automated competency with your driving skills and everything that takes you there, right? So because to learn confidence skills and this kind of courage and superhuman power with laser focused energy is the way to the higher consciousness. So to go to the straight to the higher consciousness, that is that part of your brain that is your smart brain, means that we bypass your logic. And your logic is really, well, I'm not good enough for that. I can't do that. That's ridiculous. Or, you know, it's going to take you months, years, and it's going to take you a hell of a lot of discipline to get there. Whereas when you actually bypass that logical brain, it can happen at the speed of light, you guys. So by doing the work of the subconscious, not only are you bypassing all your day-to-day normal blocks, because what we can do is actually look at what is holding you back, what is stopping and blocking you from your success. And I'm going to talk about in just a moment what kind of people become really, really successful, right? And hello to you as you're joining. And thank you for, you know, jumping on and watching. So, you know, really, guys, when you want to become really good at something, like you may want to become a worldwide speaker. Wow. Imagine if you wanted to achieve that kind of awesomeness and you wanted to do it perhaps in a week or a month. Well, did you know if you tap into your higher self, you can. You can actually achieve it by doing this through your higher consciousness. Now, your higher consciousness does not process the way your logic does. Your logic needs logical terminology. It needs specific words that you're used to, whereas your higher consciousness operates holographically because it is infinite. And there is no limits. It's expansive. It's amazing. It can create, you know, awesome ripple effects in one session, right? So what are we doing here? So by actually doing the work of the subconscious, not only are you bypassing your day-to-day blocks, behaviors, and patterns, you're removing stress and trauma. Now, listen to this, you guys. Do you know what stress is? Have you ever had stress before? Drop it down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Well, if you've had stress before and if you have had any trauma in your life, did you know that it accumulates? It accumulates and it is stored in your muscles. So what happens is this becomes like the weight of the world on your shoulders. And if you can imagine, when you're doing this kind of subconscious work, you can release it. Now, I do teach people how to help them to release stress on a day-to-day basis when they're not a coach, when they're not a light worker. So, for example, journaling. When you journal, that is taking things from the brain down onto the paper. So that is a really, really good way of, looking at superseding some of your conscious blocks. So what I want to talk to you about is, when you're doing the work of the subconscious, not only are you bypassing all of the rubbish, you are also in a position where you can go, well, okay, I really wanted to, be that confident person and really, go into that meeting today, or really succeed in my business, or really connect with that person. Oh, but I have so many little monkeys on my shoulders saying I'm not good enough. What if they judge me? What if they ridicule me? And all of those normal blocks. Well, guess what? We release them. Okay. So, for example, if a client does a program that is designed to move them forward, obviously people will come to me for a specific purpose. Now, in clinic, I must admit, I spent over a decade in trauma and stress. So that means that I was dealing with trauma and stress and releasing it like the freaking speed of light. So what was going on? People were going away. They were having epic results. They were changing so dramatically. Their friends and their families were going, well, what the hell just happened to you? How come last week I saw you and you were a mess, and this week I'm looking at you and you're this empowered human being? That is because they did it at the speed of light. Now, did those clients, excuse me while I just make myself a little bit more comfortable on this chair here, did those clients necessarily know how I did it? No. In fact, probably 90% or 95% even would not have a clue on how it happened. They just knew they enjoyed the experience. There was a lot of meditation, but see, I was bypassing that faculty of their brain that was the logical, and I was going into the super consciousness. And then they were kind of showing up in their work lives, in their family lives. Women would say, oh my gosh, Terry, I put this person into their place. I had boundaries. Men were coming in and saying, oh my gosh, their businesses were moving from struggling, battling 5 figures to 6 and even 7 figures. I'm not joking, right? That's because we weren't necessarily working toward, that kind of epic success. But when they unblocked themselves, guess what? Their success happened, right? Does that make sense? So if they came in, they would dramatically improve. They would feel lighter, brighter. They would feel more inspired. They would have more direction in their life. Suddenly, things would come easy. Like, I did a business plan for the next 12 months. I was put on the spot and asked to do this, in a group and a community that I'm involved in. Now, I was able to smash out that actual business plan in 20 minutes. Now, I wouldn't have ever been able to do that before, but why? Why was I able to smash out a plan in the speed of light? Because my mind is crystal clear, laser focused, and I'm working like a mojo on it just about every single day of my life, right? But if I was where I was before I knew how to tap into the subconscious, you guys, no freaking way. Not a personality type like mine, a creator, and where I've got an inclination to be scattered. There is no way I would have been able to do that. So thank you for watching. And I want to say I can't see comments, but I will promise you to come back and read your comments. So thank you for acknowledging. So people feel lighter, they feel brighter, they have crystal clear clarity. Most of them don't know why, especially if they're just doing my programs. They're really paying me so that they can have the experience, so they can get to where they want to go, right? So generally speaking, 75% of my clients are rebirthed and reinvented and transformed and don't know how the heck it happened. Do they care? It's a bit like going and getting this amazing makeover. Do you care about how your hairdresser mixed up that actual color and everything else? Probably not. Do you care about how you look? Absolutely, right? It's the same with if you have a technician coming out to fix up one of your electrical appliances. You want the job done. However, I want to just go a little bit deeper here. So just stay with me as I continue. Because of the world-class cutting edge power, I call this the Rolls Royce of personal excellence. I have never ever known, I've seen a lot of great coaches out there. I see a lot of amazing leaders, mentors, and light workers, but I don't necessarily see people who are actually giving that vehicle so that they can do the therapy, the training, and even then create that success and epic results where that they can become conscious about what happened to them and why their lives changed so dramatically. So I call this the Rolls Royce. Now, if you've come in and you've done work with me, even if you are already coached and trained by me, and I haven't seen you for 6 months, I say to myself, well, I pray to God that you have been seeing somebody else or somebody who you've connected with to maintain your Rolls Royce, because everybody, including myself, needs to look after their greatest asset. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into conscious competency. Now, the conscious competency is about this fast, slick, classy, sexy vehicle that can take you from A to Z and help you to be a lighthouse to the world. What if you knew exactly how to drive this classy little baby? What if you had the master key to that vehicle? So that is what I am offering to people, right? So the people that are coming in now, this is going to be a juicy training that it doesn't matter whether you've already done NLP with me or if you've become certified with me. This is going to be all upgraded, integrated, live, face-to-face, up-close, personal training that is exciting, revolutionizing, and I'm going to get to who it's really designed for in just a cotton picking moment. Did I really say that? A cotton picking moment? Okay. Now, as much as thousands of people that I have worked for with have sung my praises about how their lives have transformed, and that's the ones that don't know how the heck it happened, it just did, and who I made a massive impact with, but that's where I say, what about the future self? Like, it's good because they've unpacked a load of all their life. And if they're 35, 45, 55, 65, or even older, then they've unpacked a lot of stuff, right? Which is great. But life happens. So this is why it's like, you know, if you never emptied your bin, but I don't want to call it a bin, I want to call it a Rolls Royce instead, because if you never service the Rolls Royce, and that even includes you people, if you have not done the work with me, and maybe you are already trained and you're a coach, but what about you? What about your development? What about your growth? I know I invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own. And I know that that's the only money that I would ever invest that is irreplaceable, okay? It cannot, there is no value on your life. You cannot put a value on your life. So all of the people that wonder what on earth happened for such a transformation, for the way their confidence came about, for their crystal clear vision, for their sudden assertiveness, for, you know, all of these great things. I know I got tons of referrals. My whole clinic was based on a referral system because everyone was shocked at how their friends, family, or associate was suddenly transformed, and they could see it. They could literally see it happening so fast at the speed of light. So, you know, I mean, really, I have produced some epic coaches. So, you know, if you're in a space where you're ready to, you know, you want to transform your life and you're just starting out on this journey, you may do really well by going into one of my coaches training programs. So we've got a Body Beautiful Inside and Out coming. We've also got a relationships where that is juicy. We've got a program for that coming. And we've got another program that is on its way with wealth activation. And there's going to be so much more, but that's all I'm going to talk to you about, where I can plug you into that specific program and you can really go on a journey. And, you know, this is a great way to begin where you need it the most. Now allow me to get to my next part. For those of you who are coaches, leaders, business people, parents, teachers, students, maybe you are a business owner, a real estate person, an MLM, or even police, because I've dealt with police officers and even detectives, helping them. Really, I deal with entrepreneurs and business people and high achieving leaders to help them to go to the next level. However, since there is such a wide field of people that I help, let me tap into the actual personality and character traits so that you can see if I'm talking to you. Because as I say, there's going to be a lot of programs that are going to be available to meet you where you are at your price point. But there is the master key that I am going to be delivering to people who are ready to really go to the next level and take their mastery and understand their higher self. So I'm going to smash this out in about 2 minutes if I can, because I'm going to go out to lunch with my wonderful husband and meet up with my parents. So it's not really what you do for a living that counts to me. It's really about who you are if you're going to work closely with me. So I want to talk to you about the traits, and the traits are that you have a burning desire to actually help others. You seem to have this ability to be there for people and help them. The reason you want to help others is because of your own personal afflictions and experiences that cause you to be really empathetic. So you're intuitive and you also feel for people that have gone through what you have gone through yourself. You may not have looked at it this way, but if the truth be really known, you know, all the sufferings that you've ever had, you want to be out there actively helping other people. And quite often when, you know, you're not in a service, you're just doing that for free. So quite often you can come across as being cheerful, upbeat, and yet deep down inside, quite often people like myself, the old me, and even the me that sometimes does creep up, you know, has all these, you know, old monkeys and demons that, you know, happen to people who are people pleasing or really out there serving and giving too much of themselves and not really deeply grounding in to look after yourself first. This is one of the downfalls of people with these character traits. So I just want you to understand and hear, this may not be you, but then I want you to just check and see if this is you. So people like my avatars that I give the master key, they are usually overcomers, okay? They have a charisma about them, and yet it's not just tapped into. It's not something that can always be tapped into, but they work hard. You work hard to get where you are, and that is because of this rampage of thinking that you're either not good enough to rise and, you know, look after yourself and put yourself first, or you've got shame around money and, you know, actually asking for money and putting your price up. So you tend to allow your yourself, that inner self, that broken part of you, to kind of like rule over. And in the end, you're the one who is hard done by. So this is really people who are leaders and light workers, and they're not even getting paid to do it. We also, and I say we because this is very much, I'm describing my old self. We tend to have scattered energy sometimes. And this is because we're deeply creative and we're capable. And because we're capable and we've learned to be able to, do so many things, we tend to, sometimes get overwhelmed. So we need to come back and deeply ground, because really the suffering that you have had can be your gold mine, and it's time to lift the lid. So you're also a high achiever, and you are. You've got high expectations, especially of yourself. You've always inwardly, if this is you, if I'm talking to you and you're just like me, you've inwardly fantasized about great success in your life. But, the average Joe Blow, they won't do that. They won't even go there. But you're not really the average Joe Blow. You're not the average. There's something different. You may have even put yourself into being like a square peg in a round hole. So sometimes the only reason that you're not where you want to be is because of the fear of ridicule, the fear of deep rejection because of where you've come from. And yet I'm here to tell you that is the platform that is going to launch you to your greatest success. Are you hearing me? Does anybody hear me? If I hear anybody like this, or you're resonating with any of this, let me know in the comments. So now to sum this up, you have a lot of experience. You've got a lot of talents and you've got a lot of gifts, but unfortunately, you've allowed the lid to stay on that gold mine, and it's just a matter of lifting it. Now, people that come to see me, I will serve anyone in the world that wants to release trauma and stress. And yes, because that is my specialty. However, I will not choose to work and actually give the master key to just anybody. This is not the sort of thing that just falls into anybody's hands. This is the key that falls into the hands of people with a pure heart. Even if you've got a lot of darkness and you've got a lot of stuff that you may feel guilty or shameful about, let me promise you, you can still, when your heart is pure and you want to do good for the world, that's when I want to work with you. That's when I want to give you my knowledge, my key, and help you to have a voice and to allow your audacious goals to really come to life. So what will happen when you have this master key? And let me tell you that if you've got the master key system already, this is going to be very much upgraded mastery. We're going to get together live. This is going to be really juicy content. What can it do for you? Unleash your power. Number one, unplug you. All the stuff, it's like sewage water. It might start off clear, but as it goes older and older and older, it starts to turn brown and murky. We unplug that, right? What happens when it's unplugged? It clears. You can put brand new water in. You'll be released. You'll be focused. You'll be freaking unstoppable, because you are gifted. If I'm talking to you, you are gifted. Now, for some of you, you may not be ready to work with me straight away. And what I want to do is I want to be able to plug you in to where you will best be fitted. So you let me know and I will plug you in, and I'll make sure that whatever investment that you are making, that's going to be secured toward what you get to if you do want to reach the Rolls Royce and really go to the top. So coaches, and leaders, if you are already a coach or a leader, I want you to know that your Rolls Royce that you're driving around in needs a freaking service. So I would love to hear from you. That's only though if you really connect and you feel this, oh my gosh, I think she's right. I feel like she's talking to me. I want to hear from you, okay? So once you have this, you must look after your Rolls Royce. You can rise and drive in the Rolls Royce if you haven't already done so. And if you've already jumped in the Rolls Royce, make sure you look after your baby, okay? Because this is liberating. This is going to help you to be empowered. However, when you have the master key, what it means is you can give it to other people too. Now, that is why I will help the world. Yes, I will help the world. However, I will only impart the master key to people with a pure heart that truly want to have this power to tap into their higher self, to do the good for the world. And I am sorry to say this, but there are people out there that I have actually said no to because I haven't felt that their character aligns with the power that you're given when you know this work. So I've been really transparent in this. This is going to knock a few people between the eyes, but you know what? I understand it'll polarize a lot of people, but I also understand that the people that do come in will be very, very authentic and very real and very spiritually prompted. So that is why I also pride myself on taking care of coaches, leaders, and people who want to do the work for the world. So jump on board. The master key is coming. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not ready for the master key, I will meet with you where you're at, and I will allow you to be on a journey where you have a very bright future. My name's Terry Messenger. Have an amazing day. I will check your comments and see who said hello when they walked into my living room. And remember, results count.